Teacher Training Testimonials, captions in bold. Dr. Hannes Mayer, specialist in psychiatry and psychotherapeutic medicine, yoga teacher, child of nature, Villach, Austria. But the insight into yoga practice that he has given to me is still overwhelming. He gave me this seed of knowledge and now I can watch it grow in my daily practice. Although his kind of teaching is somehow different from the Western style of yoga teaching, I have learned in my 200H teacher training here in Austria, I can totally integrate his approach into my classes and even more in my personal exercises. Testimonial. Dr. Neil Kulkarni at Yoga System. A few months ago, I have read a book about acro yoga written by a well-known acro yoga teacher school from Barcelona. In the first chapter of this book, the yoga philosophy is described in a simple and clear way, like I have never read before. And in this chapter one read about Dr. Neil Kulkarni, their friend and teacher, who is said to have written a book in sutra form for today's yoga practitioners. So I got very curious about this person and the book he has written. I contacted him because I wanted to know more about his teachings and his approaches in yoga philosophy. After a while he wrote to me that he would be interested in coming to Austria and teaching me. First I couldn't believe it, but his appearance in my house came true. We spent 4 weeks of intense training in yoga philosophy and asana practice, which wasn't easy sometimes as a husband and father of 3 kids. But the insight into yoga practice that he has given to me is still overwhelming. He gave me this seed of knowledge and now I can watch it grow in my daily practice. Although his kind of teaching is somehow different from the Western style of yoga teaching, I have learned in my 200H teacher training here in Austria, I can totally integrate his approach into my classes and even more in my personal exercises. The point system in the asana practice, the orientation to meditation, the theory of philosophy became more and more accessible to me in my daily practice. We have agreed that I translate a part of his Adi Yoga Sutras book and do the final correction of the German translation, which I finalized just a few days ago, and that I will do another translation of his book, Patanjali Code. During translating his sutras, so much wisdom has been revealed, from which I can draw in my life. The union of classical yoga and the approaches for nowadays people show his knowledge from the years of studying and still being open to today's living conditions. And last but not least, his selfless and friendly way of dealing with me as a student is exemplary. Now it is important for me to integrate what I have learned over the next few months, and I am already looking forward to further knowledge in my practice. I'm not the type of person to move superficially and quickly from one topic to the next, so I need some time and the right living conditions to be able to devote myself to the deeper yoga practices. I'm sure in every life there is a point in time when everything happens naturally, and you don't have to force yourself to do something just to meet your own expectations and those of others. I'm already looking forward to this opportunity to develop myself further. Thank you, Neil. Stefania Cavallero, Italy. His own methodology to teach asanas and way to reach the perfection of the poses has made revolutionary changes in my approach to yoga, not only in my daily practice but also in the teaching techniques. Feedback. I met Professor Neil Kulkarni 5 years ago in Italy, when I had the pleasure and honor of helping him translate from English to Italian during a yoga workshop. I was immediately impressed by his deep knowledge of yoga and philosophy, as well as his simple way of explaining even very complex concepts to make them understandable to everyone. On that occasion he wanted to symbolically give me his yoga mat, which, since then, has become a constant companion in my training. At that time I had already been practicing yoga for a few years, but I felt the desire to further deepen my practice, as well as the philosophical knowledge that underlies it. As always happens, the synchronicity of the universe struck even then, and just as this desire was taking shape inside me, this great master was sent to me. I studied with him for 5 years, getting to deepen the theoretical and philosophical part, also through online meetings, and then continuing with the practical part in presence, obtaining the 500-hour certification as a yoga teacher. During my studies, we have explored many topics from both a theoretical and practical point of view, starting from the study of the origins and history of Indian philosophy, the Samkhya philosophical system, as well as the main reference texts, in particular Hatha Yoga Pradipika and Patanjali Yoga Sutra, also through the Patanjali Code, a review and reorganization of the original sutras by Professor Neil, who made them deeply understandable and accessible. In addition, topics such as the historical origin and techniques of pranayama and meditation, yoga therapy, mantra and chanting, nutrition, teaching techniques, and in-depth study of some advanced level asanas that particularly interested me were covered. During my studies, Professor Neil was completely dedicated to my training, adapting the timing to my work needs. He was extremely available in teaching and answering any of my questions or requests, in providing a simple methodology for teaching, and in making philosophical knowledge understandable. His teaching method in learning and perfecting asanas has brought revolutionary changes in my approach to yoga, not only in my daily routine but also in teaching techniques. In addition to this, I have had the opportunity to know him better as a person and appreciate his many qualities. Professor Neil is always ready to listen and help others, providing advice and ideas, as well as laughing together and sharing his own experiences. I feel extremely fortunate to have known him and had him as a teacher. His passion for what he does and for knowledge have been a great inspiration and example for me. His commitment at an international level to share his method and this precious knowledge otherwise inaccessible are truly commendable. I have met Prof. Neil Kulkarni 5 years ago, when I had the honor to help him translating a lecture from English to Italian during a yoga workshop. On that occasion, I've been impressed by his deep knowledge about yoga and philosophy, and also by his simple way to teach complex concepts to make them accessible to everyone. To thank me for my help during that workshop, he gave me his yoga mat as a symbolic present, which I appreciated very much. From that moment on, that yoga mat became my precious companion in my daily routine. At that time, I was practicing yoga since a few years, but I was feeling the will to go deeper with my practice and my philosophical studies. As always happens, the universe synchronism has come into play again, and as soon as this will be formed in my mind, it sent this great master to me. During my 5 years of studying with him, I've deepened my knowledge about yoga theory and philosophy, even with online classes, followed by practical classes on presence, which has led me to obtain a yoga teacher training 500 hours certification. During this time, many different topics have been treated, both from theory and practice point of view, starting from origin and history of Indian philosophy, Samkhya system, as well as the most important philosophical texts, such as Hatha Yoga Pradipika and Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Thanks to the help of Patanjali Code, a revisitation and reorganization of original sutras by Prof. Neil, who made them clearly understandable and accessible to everyone. Beside this, many other topics have been taught, including origin and techniques of pranayama and meditation, yoga therapy, mantras and chanting, nutrition, teaching rules and techniques, as well as some advanced asanas which interested me in a particular way. In all this time, Professor Neil has totally dedicated his time to me, adapting class schedule to my working needs. He was extremely available in teaching everything I may ask, providing a simple and very useful method to learn poses and teaching techniques. His own methodology to teach asanas and the way to reach perfection of the poses has brought revolutionary changes in my approach to yoga, not only in my daily practice but also in the teaching techniques. At the same time, I had the chance to better know him as a person. He is always ready to listen and help others, providing ideas and advice, share his experiences and have fun with anyone at the same time. I feel very lucky to have met him and to have had him as a teacher. His passion for yoga knowledge and for what he is doing have been a great stimulus and an example for me. All the work he has been doing worldwide plus his will to share his deep knowledge to anyone interested in yoga field are really impressive. Marie Grunewald, holistic practitioner and social media expert, France. Part 1 of 2. English. Embarking on the 200-hour yoga teacher training with Dr. Neil Kulkarni was a deeply transformative and rewarding journey that has profoundly impacted my yoga practice and teaching philosophy. Dr. Neil's innovative Hatha Yoga system, a holistic integration of classical yoga, modern health science, psychology, the arts, and more, provided a robust and comprehensive framework that enriched my understanding of yoga beyond the physical postures. The journey began with online theoretical classes every morning. He assigned meaningful homework that challenged me to engage deeply with the material, ensuring I grasped the concepts thoroughly. His book, Hatha Yoga System, became an indispensable guide, offering insights into yoga philosophy, meditation, yoga exercises, breathing exercises, chanting, therapy, teaching methodologies, and various practices. It was a vital resource that expanded my perspective on yoga and its multifaceted applications. Transitioning to the practical phase in India, Dr. Neil's expertise in teaching both the subtleties of yoga postures and the nuances of effective instruction was exceptional. He provided opportunities for me to teach diverse groups, including university students, children, and ashram visitors, which were invaluable for developing my adaptability and confidence as a teacher. I loved how Dr. Neil encouraged me to innovate rather than imitate, empowering me to design poses and sequences that are accessible and beneficial for everyone. This approach has been instrumental in my growth as a yoga instructor. Dr. Neil's extensive knowledge and experience are remarkable, making learning from him a unique and precious opportunity. I am immensely grateful for the opportunity to learn from him on a one-on-one basis. It allowed for a depth of learning and personal growth that would have been unattainable in a group setting. Dr. Neil Kulkarni's yoga teacher training is not merely an educational experience. It is a transformative journey that equips you with the knowledge, skills, and inspiration to share the wisdom of yoga with confidence, compassion, and creativity. French. My 200-hour yoga teacher training with Dr. Neil Kulkarni was a profoundly transformative and enriching journey that profoundly influenced my yoga practice and philosophy of learning. The Adhi Yoga system created by Dr. Neil, a holistic integration of classical yoga, modern health sciences, psychology, other arts, provides a solid and complete body here to enrich but understand yoga beyond the posture's physiques. I'll read about the theoretical courses online in the mornings. I have given you some exercises to do here that I can engage deeply in the subject in order to master the different concepts. The book, Adhi Yoga System, is an indispensable guide, offering an insight into the philosophy of yoga, meditation, yoga exercises, breathing exercises, chanting, therapy, teaching methods, and of different practices. The Sajat d'une ressource important ka largi ma perspective sur le yoga. Jayan sut practice it ind, where Dr. Neil's expertise in teaching the subtleties of yoga postures and the nuances of effective training is exceptional. I gave myself the opportunity to teach to different groups, including university students, children in a village, and visitors to the ashram. A beautiful experience in terms of development but capacity for adaptation and yet confidence in so much sense. I adored the fakin. Don't Dr. Neil encouraged me to do more than once. In me it gives me the ways to understand poses and sequences accessible and beneficial for the world at large. This approach plays a crucial role in my development as a yoga teacher. The immense knowledge and experience of Dr. Neil are remarkable, making his apprenticeship a unique and valuable opportunity. I am immensely grateful for the opportunity to learn about him individually. This allows me to delve deeper into my training and my personnel development, which is not possible in a group context. The training of yoga teachers by Dr. Neil Kulkarni is not an educational experience. There is a transformative journey that gives you the knowledge, skills, and inspiration you need to share the wisdom of yoga with confidence, compassion, and creativity. Mary. Part 2 of 2. English. Neil's profound knowledge of yoga's historical and philosophical aspects was especially evident as he guided me through the Yoga Sutras through his book, Patanjali Code. This deep dive broadened my theoretical knowledge and brought the teachings of the sutras into a clearer, more practical context in modern yoga practice. After doing my 200-hour training with Neil, I happily embarked on this advanced 300-hour yoga teacher training course with him to explore the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. It was an invaluable continuation of my yoga education, deepening my appreciation and understanding of the philosophy of yoga. Neil's profound knowledge of yoga's historical and philosophical aspects was especially evident as he guided me through the Yoga Sutras through his book, Patanjali Code. This deep dive broadened my theoretical knowledge and brought the teachings of the sutras into a clearer, more practical context in modern yoga practice. This course was conducted online, yet Neil's accessibility and dedication to my learning never made it feel distant. His responsiveness to my questions was immediate and insightful. I am profoundly grateful for the chance to study under Neil's guidance once again. I wholeheartedly recommend Neil Kulkarni's 300-hour YTTC to anyone seeking to deepen their yoga practice and teaching capabilities. French. After completing 200 hours of training with Neil, I am embarked on a journey of joy in the course of 300 hours of training as a yoga teacher to explore the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. There was a very useful continuity of my training in yoga, which allowed me to deepen my appreciation and understanding of the philosophy of yoga. Neil's profound knowledge of the historical and philosophical aspects of yoga is particularly evident when he guides me through the Yoga Sutras in their book, Patanjali Code. This study deepens to give me theoretical insights and to repeat the teachings of the sutras in a clearer and more concrete context of the modern practice of yoga. Secours SS de rôle en ligne, mais l'accessibilité et le développement de Neil à mon apprentissage en intelligence, dans l'impression d'être distance. Please answer my questions immediately and insightfully. I deeply remember the chance to study new under Neil's direction. I recommend without reserving the 300-hour training of Neil Kulkarni for all that you can do to deepen your yoga practice and learning skills. Marie. Veronica, officer in European Union. I am full of gratitude and joy for this wonderful transformative experience with Professor Neil, which brought me deeper knowledge, more self-confidence, life inspiration, and precious memories. Professor Neil shares his vast knowledge of yoga history, philosophy, and practice with passion and patience. The theory is delivered to the students in a clear and simple way, while maintaining all complexity and depth of the topics. He is always ready and available to answer any question, and even more, he is encouraging students' curiosity, creativity, and critical approach. His very effective teaching method includes assigning homework, reviewing students' book notes, asking for daily reports, so helping the students to maintain a discipline and to make the most out of the training. I deeply appreciated Professor Neil's energetic and enthusiastic teaching method. He is an open-minded and generous person who gives maximum attention to each student with a personalized approach. He easily understands the strengths and weaknesses of his students and knows how to encourage them in overcoming their limits and maximizing their full potential. He is an excellent teacher as he gives to his students full trust and encouragement, so allowing them to gradually build self-confidence. He is meticulous and critical, but always respectful and fully supportive. He is also a great communicator, open and direct in addressing and resolving any issue. The design of the training allowed us to practice yoga teaching with several students, including children of local communities. Amazing experience. The variety of teaching contexts helped us developing mental flexibility and adaptability. In addition, Neil's extraordinary knowledge of different human bodies gave us great insights on how to approach different physical needs by mastering asana's variations and understanding in depth asana's structure and benefits. I read with great interest his book on Adh Yoga System, which offers a logical and comprehensive approach to the yoga practice from the more practical aspects to the higher spiritual purpose. His approach helped me to clarify many concepts and inspired my personal practice with new perspectives. More than everything, Professor Neil has a wonderful good heart, in his teachings as in his life, by nourishing bright friendships, supporting disadvantaged children, and practicing kindness with everyone. Thank you for your inspiring example. Veronica folded hands. Veronica Piniter. From Florence, Italy but living in Kathmandu, Nepal. Veronica Piniter folded hands.